My younger sons and two daughters is, I kind of cherish their relationships because now I get to see them grow up without me being on the road playing all the time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Life of Dad Show. Here in the Life of Dad Show, we talk with athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, CEOs, musicians, entertainers who've all made a name for themselves, but the one thing that is most important to them is being a dad. On this week's edition of the Life of Dad Show Rewind, I'm bringing it back to where I brought on the human highlight film. That's, of course, Dominique Wilkins. We talk about basketball, we talk about fatherhood, and we also talk about sneakers, because you know I love sneakers, I'm a sneakerhead, so I really enjoyed talking with Dominique Wilkins. I was a fan of his growing up, watching him play in the NBA, and now talking to him about fatherhood. So let's get into it for this week's edition of the Life of Dad Show Rewind with Dominique Wilkins. Enjoy. Hey everybody, it's Art Eddy, and on the line, I'm happy and honored to have the human highlight film himself, Dominique Wilkins. Thanks for taking the time, Nick. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am on cloud nine right now talking to you. I had a blast growing up watching you. You had a great career in the NBA, obviously. Elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006, 9-time NBA All-Star, 1986 NBA scoring champion, and the list can go on and on. But looking back at your fantastic career, man, is there like one moment that stands out the most for you?
That's a great question. I think the thing that stands out the most for me is the level of talent I played against and with during my years in the NBA. Was, in my opinion, the greatest era of basketball. We had so many great players.
Yeah, for me, growing up, I thought the way the basketball with every team, I felt like there was at least like maybe not the starting five, but at least 3 or 4 players on that team, man, could just seriously take over a game. Now I feel that the game has kind of changed. It's more on the offensive side of things. What's your take on the game, and do you like the way the NBA has kind of evolved?
Well, the NBA is still great. I mean, it's evolved probably from a marketing standpoint, it's the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
The game has changed a little from a physical standpoint, and more guys play multiple positions, which in our day you just couldn't play that many positions because certain positions had a license to play a little bit more physical than others. So it was just a different time.
Yeah. Speaking of different time, Game 7, 1988, Eastern Conference semifinals, man. You and the Hawks took on Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. Hands down, got to be one of the best games out there. I always love checking it out on like an ESPN Classic whenever it comes on. Where does that game for you personally rank?
Probably in the top 2 or 3 games of my career. I mean, because that game really was going to determine who went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that was a game for the ages, no question about it.
For someone of your caliber and the way you played the game and the way you attacked it, for that game and just for games that you're just like, quote unquote, in the zone, what is it like to understand like what you're kind of going through when you're like just shooting the lights out?
Well, what happens is you get in what we call this zone, and this zone that you're in, you don't see nothing but the rim. That's all you see at the basket, and you're in a point where you feel like nothing go wrong. There's no one to stop you, and that's what that feeling was like.
Obviously, besides Atlanta, was there one place that you loved to play? Did you feel like it was like kind of like your quote unquote second home?
The places I love to play was Boston Garden, and I love to play in Chicago, LA. Who didn't like to play in LA?
Yeah. Nice. I mean, like you said, you came up in the era of Jordan, Bird, Magic, and all that. And of course, these guys, are household names just like yourself. But was there one guy that you kind of, when you looked at the NBA schedule, like, yep, can't wait for this game?
I had quite a few teams I felt that way. I felt that way with New York. I felt that way with Chicago, where I definitely wanted to go head-to-head against Mike and guys like that. So you had your teams that you like to play more than others.
Gotcha. And then one of the other things that, was part of your game was your crazy skills at dunking, man. I mean, I loved watching the slam dunk contest. I had one of your iconic posters in my room, man. And it's cool to see like everybody looking at you and just like in awe. And I'd always be like in the same reaction. So for you, man, during those dunk contests, did you kind of have like a game plan, so to speak, of like how you were going to attack each round in the slam dunk contest?
I didn't. I really had no plan. I really, everything was spontaneous. I did it as it came. I never went and practiced in the gym by myself. I never did any of that stuff. We just took it as it came, and we just got creative. We prepared for those contests.
That is insane, man, because especially now today with people, I know players are trying to put 100% effort into these dunk contests, but they don't even come close to what you and Mike and Spud and everybody else back in the day were doing, like Vince Carter and stuff. I think Vince Carter was kind of like the end of for me, the slam dunk contest era. If you had a couple of ways to improve the slam dunk contest, what would you do?
I'd go back to the old format.
Okay.
Get 3 dunks, you miss, You get a low score, you make it. You get a decent score or high score, depending on how good the dunk was.
Nice, man. And another cool thing during your time in the NBA was your sick shoe campaign with Reebok. Of course, the Reebok pumps, man. What was it like to have your own signature shoe?
It was great. It was great. I really enjoyed that, and it's something that I'm looking forward to kind of reinventing, to really push that retro product and, the way we did things, and have someone or a shoe, I should say, to identify with.
Yeah, man, I have a couple of them. I actually hooked my cousin up. He was, was kind of into retro kicks and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, you got to check out the Twilight pumps that, Dominique used to rock, and now he's got a pair too. So I really love the way that, like you said, Reebok is kind of coming back with the whole "This is classic" campaign. So I take it you like it too, right?
Oh, yeah, and definitely want to get more involved in the whole structure of it and just the campaign itself, and I think it would be big.
Nice, man. And another thing that you're looking to start up is a fantasy camp. Tell me about that and what you got planned.
Well, yes, the fantasy camp is something we're really excited about. The camp is going to start August 14th. And so we're looking forward to really putting this thing together and really getting a lot of people around the country involved in this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now it's at the point where it's happening.
Nice, man. What can kind of people expect from this camp, or you can't just reveal anything just yet?
I can't tell you everything, man.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. And like I said, it's just for you had those guys who are businessmen come in for a weekend and thinking they NBA players.
Nice, man. I love it. And now we're going to switch over here at Life of Dad. We like to talk to everybody about fatherhood and all that. You're a dad. So for you, when your kids are growing up, what type of morals did you look to instill into your children?
Growing up with a missing father for most part of my life, I wanted to make sure that my kids never experienced that. And so I try to, as much as I can, do fatherly things. And I enjoy being around my kids, probably more now than it was when I was a player, because I had more time to spend with them. My younger sons and 2 daughters I kind of cherish their relationships because now I get to see them grow up without me being on the road playing all the time. Nice.
And, especially for kids of my generation now growing up, and we're trying to show our kids basketball. That's for your kids. Do they kind of, I'm not saying you're going to sit down like, hey, you're going to watch how I play, but when they watch like highlights of you, they're kind of stunned with everything you were able to do on the court?
Yeah, my youngest son would watch more highlights than probably any of my kids. He really enjoys basketball, but one thing I don't really push it on my kids.
Okay.
Something that he has naturally, and they, I guess they call that hereditary, but, I don't really push it on him. I let him enjoy it, on his time.
Gotcha. And I have 2 daughters of my own, 6 and 3, and both of them can be button pushers. And I was the youngest in my family, and that was like one of the terms I was nicknamed. I was always like, trying to get either my parents going or my sisters going. But for you, when you were growing up, do you see any traits that are in your kids now that you had back in the day?
Yeah, my youngest son he's like my mini me. He's for me. And my daughters are just different. Girls going to be different. They got their own personality, attitudes, and things that they love. So you can never understand little girls, man. They're going to be who they are. But for daddies, it's great to have a relationship with your daughters because that's a different type of relationship than you have with your son.
Yeah, man. From judging from my own experience with my relationship with my parents and obviously now with my daughters, I totally agree. And my last question for you, Dominique, is describe the perfect family vacation.
The perfect family vacation for me is going to Barbados with the whole family, spending about 7 days.
Nice. Very cool. Dominique, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Good luck with the fantasy camp. I can't wait to see what you guys got planned, whatever you guys are going to be doing with Reebok for your kick collection, man. And again, it was an honor talking to you for someone who's watched you play at such a high level, man. So thanks again for taking the time and continued success.
Pleasure. Thank you, man.
All right, take care.
Thanks so much for listening to the Life of Dad show. You know where to find us, lifeofdad.com, and on Twitter and Facebook.